Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Yay! All right, well, welcome to Pilates All Levels. My name is Audra, but you guys know that. Today we're going to use a ball and a band. If you don't have a ball at home, you can fold a pillow up a couple times. And if you don't have a band, that's okay. You can just kind of use your muscles making the same movement. Yeah, we're gonna get started on our back, knees bent, feet flat, but we're actually going to put the ball behind our thoracic spine so we can start with a little bit of upper back extension. So just find a comfortable position that feels fine on your lower back and support your head with your hands, interlacing them, allowing your elbows to be in your periphery, and then just gently extend over the ball. Now notice what part of your spine is doing the moving, right? If it's all rib cage, maybe get a little bit of lower back. And if it's all lower back or neck, see if you can also extend with the rib cage. On your exhale, curl forward, looking in between your knees. Now slowly extend over, resisting gravity here. And then on your exhale, come back. Let's do a couple more. So slowly extend. And then curl forward, collarbones, sinking the ribs down. And then slowly extend. Two more. Good. Beautiful. Last one. Now curl forward, see if you can hold, and just press one foot into the ground, float the other leg up, reach that foot down, press it into the ground, other side. So we're still looking forward to help lengthen through our ears. If you start feeling tension in your neck, think about sinking the ribs down more so your head can just gently be stacked so gravity has less of an impact on it. Couple more. Notice if there's kind of a hike of the hip or if your ribs try to move. Last one. Bring the foot down, extend over the ball. Now sink your ribs down into the ball, rotate to one side. Yeah, so we're just getting a little bit of oblique. Come back to center, extend over. And curl, rotate to the opposite side. Just notice if one side feels different than the other. Curl and rotate. Good. Couple more. Think about those ribs rotating around your spine. Everyone already feeling their abs a little? Yeah. Good morning, abs. Good morning, spine. Good. And once again, if you need a break, always feel free to take one. Couple more. Good. And now we can start adding the leg. So same side that you're rotating towards, yeah. And slowly extend and curl, other side. Now, if you're able to come into deep hip flexion as you curl forward, if you want to get your knee and elbow together and push one into the other, that should create a little bit more oblique activation. But if you're like, I'd rather not, I'm working enough, that's fine too. Good. Give me just a couple more like this. Making sure you're in a position where your back feels good. So you're welcome to move the ball up or down. And curl. And last one. And extend over the ball. Let your abs relax for a second. And then curl forward to a flat back position. So instead of curling in the C shape, we're just coming to a flat back. So making sure your ribs are still drawing towards your belly button, slightly more neutral pelvis here. Now, all we're gonna do is curl your tailbone towards your face and then sink your ribs down and then come back to your neutral. Curl from your tailbone first. So tailbone, belly button back, then sink the ribs and then back. Couple more. So we're trying to initiate from a different part of our body rather than the top down, we're going bottom up. 2. Last one. Now come back to your neutral. Keep a neutral pelvis, just curl your collarbones forward more. If you've tucked, see if you can keep your tailbone a little bit heavier. So now we're just moving from the ribs up. 2. Anybody else immediately tremble? Or just me? Yeah. Last one. Just me. And then extend over the ball. And then curl all the way to a seated position. Go ahead, bring the ball a little closer to you if you like. Hands on your shins, shoulder blades draw down. Good. And just curl back so your low back meets the ball. Good. And just exhale, slowly bring one arm up. Think about the shoulder blades scooping. So yes, our abs are kicking on, but think more about the shoulder blade rather than anything else, right? So I don't mind if your arm doesn't get up all the way, right? But what I do want you to think about is the shoulder blade kind of going whoop around the ribs in a gentle smiling position. Yeah, good. That should feel pretty easy in the neck and shoulder. Yeah, so what I would say is instead of being here, flip your palm to face in. Think about your shoulder blade sliding back slightly. Yeah, and then try. Yeah, that would look great. Yeah, because like our shoulder blades are interesting because they are on the back side of our body, and a lot of the muscles that surround them are small, so they're a little bit trickier to feel. Now, if that feels good, draw your ribs in. Think about your lats, so your armpit muscles pulling down, and then exhale, both arms come up and then back. If you're like, that's too easy, Audra, ball between your knees. Think about squeezing the prop. Good. Now notice if your elbows start to bend, that could be that your bicep is tight. It could be that your lat is tight. So if your lat won't let you get overhead, you're naturally going to try to get that range through a different joint, right? That could be your rib cage. It could be your elbow. So we're trying to keep the ribs in. 3, good. 2, nice job. Last 1. Now connect the arms down again. Bring one arm forward and then out to the side, trying not to let your ribs slide. And then other side. And just notice if you tend to bring a little bit more weight onto one of your cheeks, right? So I like to slide this way, so I'm already trying to bring more weight. Good. Nice job. Now, you can always let go of the leg. And maybe that's where you are. Maybe you're in between, in which case I'd push down into your knees. Yeah. Doing okay? Oh, I would change position. You could even bring your knees out to the side if you want. Yeah. Yeah, is that better? Yeah. 2. Last 1. Nice job, you guys. Go ahead, take the ball out from behind your back, hands on your thighs. We're just going to curl and roll back a little. And then curl and roll back a little bit more. Curl back and roll back a little bit more. And then come forward. And let's do it again. Curl and roll. Think about your ears lifting. I tend to want to be here, so I have to think about scruffing a cat, right? Good. And then forward. Good. 2 more. Gorgeous. Last one. Unless this is where you are. If you're like, cool, I want to advance it, you just bring your hands forward, squeeze the ball, use your breath. Yeah. For any reason it doesn't feel great on your hip, we have options. You can extend your legs, just don't go down as far. Or you can kind of bring your feet together, knees apart. Yeah. You just might not be able to go as far because you won't have the help of your hip flexors, right? 2 more. Good, good. Last one like this. And then come all the way down. Bring your feet closer to you. Prop is in between your knees. Make sure your toes are pointing forward. On your exhale, think about your ribs and hips hugging together. You gently press your sacrum into the ground, just a little bit. If you notice your lower back is tucking and pressing, see if you can come back to neutral. Couple more. On your next one, use the ball, squeeze the ball, imprint and peel up into your bridge. And then roll all the way down. Let's do a couple more. Imprint, press into your big toe mound, peel up, and then melt. And roll all the way down. Give me just a couple more. And last one. Come all the way down. Bring your fingertips to the sky and then allow your arm bones to relax into the socket. Now bring your palms up to the sky, knuckles down, making sure your shoulder blades are flat on the ground. Reach into your fingertips, look to one side. Reach those fingertips away, look to the other side. So depending on if you have tension in your neck, your pecs, your biceps, or your forearms, you might feel a big stretch here. You might not. One more, back and forth. And then the only thing we're going to do is bend the elbows. So it's more of a goalpost than a T. And slide your arms overhead, slide them back down into the goalpost. Couple more, trying to keep the ribs down. Your elbows will probably lift, right? We're not trying to keep the elbows on the ground. Last one. Now you can maintain this goalpost or you can come back to the T. We can lift our legs to tabletop. Good. You can squeeze the ball, you can squeeze your heels together, close the ribs, lift one hip, and we hold. Now, if you're in a T position, it's a little easier to keep that shoulder blade on the ground. Drag it back from the ribs. And then other side. Drag it back from the ribs. Now, if you're in a T position, make sure that the shoulders feel pretty good here. Goalpost, once again, can be a little bit trickier. It puts a little bit more stretch on that pec minor and it doesn't allow us the same leverage, right? But it's still great. You got one more each side. Now go ahead, bring your hands behind your head, curl into your chest lift. Yeah. Now exact same thing. You will not be able to go as far. Hold, because we still want to keep that shoulder blade on the ground. And then other side. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like we were doing here. But now our chest is lifted all the way from our ribs. Monica, elbows in front of your face a little bit, so you're not here. Yeah, bring your elbows forward, curl forward a little bit. Yeah, there you go. And then don't go as far. Good. Nice. So you're trying to keep your chest still. Annie, you can curl up a little bit higher, I bet. Yeah, there you go. Good. How's that feeling, everybody? So exciting? Yeah. Is one side wobblier than the other? Yeah, same. I have one where I'm like, easy. And the other that's like, what are you doing to me? Last one each side. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Gently rock back and forth. Go ahead. Set the prop down and grab your band. Go ahead, bring one foot into the band. We're actually going to cross the band. And then wrap your hands a little bit. Elbows are going to come down to the ground. Bend the knee. So try to think of your biceps here, not because you're trying to work them like up towards your shoulders, but because when you push your foot away, you're trying to find abs and arms, and then fold it in. Think about the back of your leg helping you a little bit, and then let the thigh bone fold in the socket. And fold back. Couple more. And in, shoulder blades melt out of your ears. Two more. Last one. Now go ahead, stick with this, or you can unwind just a little bit so you can bring your elbows through the door, hands behind your head, come into your chest lift. So it's a little bit more ab here. And then if you want, you can always extend that other leg. Now, if the leg is extended, push it into the ground. Good. Yeah. Now, all we're going to do is rotate towards the knee and then rotate away from the knee. Yep. Trying to keep both hips still and stable. Good. On the side you're rotating towards, kind of pull your shoulder blade into the band a little bit. Two. Last one like this. And come back to center. That leg is going to come up. Bring your hands up towards it. We're going to open, slide the other foot in. Now, think about your arm bones relaxing down. Press out to the side and down. Good. You can also have your hands face each other if that feels better in your shoulder. Arm bones down, widen through your collarbones. Find the back of your body here. Good. Couple more. Last one. Now, think about your shoulder blades, right? Like we did when we didn't have any weight on them. You're going to press the arms back, shoulder blades scoop, and then allow them to come back. So think about tucking your shoulder blades underneath, So they're like in a posterior tilt, it feels like. Good. So we're trying to find lower traps more than upper traps. 2. A little bit of mid trap. Last one. And then bring it back, slide that foot out. Foot comes down, bend the knee. Elbows come down. Press into the band. And then allow the knee to fold in. Press it out again. Still thinking of not just moving the leg from the leg, moving the leg from the abs. Now, what does that mean? That means that our core is responsible for force transmission, right? So if we just extend the leg from the leg, chances are the hip flexor is going to try to take over. The back is going to be trying to move. Now, of course, if you want, you extend that other leg. Or if you want, you bring your hands up, elbows through, and we curl forward, right? So we're in that chest lift. It's less bicep though, so be warned. Yeah. And if that feels good, we get to rotate. A little bit of oblique on both sides. And notice how one side, the side that's bending, it feels really natural to rotate towards it. When it pushes away, it's a little bit harder, right? Just a few more. And 3. Good, keeping that curl. And 2. Last one. Nice job. Come back to center. We're going back towards that other foot, helping us. Now you can choke up on it as much as you need to. We're going to do one more scoop of the shoulder blades just to find it. And then you can push down into your feet to help you lift. Yeah. Nice job. Keep your heels down. Curl your tailbone towards your face. Just roll back until there's a little bit of tension. Yeah. Just bicep. Yeah. Bicep. Good. Do you feel how your abs have to engage a little bit more as you pull with the bicep? Yeah. 2. Use your breath. You're all amazing. Last one. And then slowly roll down. We are coming back up. So exhale. Let the band help you. If you need, use your biceps. Yeah. Now, shoulder blades draw down. Curl back just a little bit. Reach out to the side. Posterior shoulder here, right? So if you tend to grip through your pecs, right? Good, nice job keeping them low. You can always put less tension on the band. Yeah. So if you tend to grip through your pecs, right? Think about the shoulder blades coming down, collarbones open. Think about pressing back with your knuckles. Good. And then if you want to bring the arms up, you can. But whatever feels good in your body is where I want you to stay, right? Good. Good. 2. Try not to arch at the end range. Yep. You draw the ribs in a little. Boop. Yeah, there you go. Good. Last one like this. And then curl and roll it back. Yeah, curl and roll it back. Nancy, you're like, do I have to? No. And then curl forward for that roll up. Yeah, now we're just going to do some roll ups. And we have so many options. Maybe this is your option. If you need a little extra assist, you can always add some weights in your hands or a cushion behind your back. Yeah. And 2. Now we have options here, you guys. You ready? You're like, no. So you can either curl forward, scoop the shoulder blades, hands come up. They don't have to go as far. Or you can wait until you're down and then try it. Or we're going to do teaser 2. Everybody ready? So for teaser 2, you're going to curl forward as your feet lift. And then your arms come up as your feet want to press down. Yeah. You press in opposition. Bring your hands to face each other as opposed to out. Yeah. Yeah. Good. 3. Yeah. And 2. Last one. And let yourself come forward and relax over your legs. Yeah, teaser 2 is fun. Yeah. Go ahead and either come to your knees or a seated position. Yeah. We're going to bring an arm out to the side. We're going to have this with us. Shoulder blade melts out of your ear. Imagine that your elbow is like on a desk. You're like, hey, what's up? Right? And we're going to keep the elbow right where it is. External rotation. Yeah. So then glance at your elbow. If it's back here, that was retraction. Bring it forward. And then, yeah. And forward. It's like a little Barbie arm. Hi. Good. Yeah. Good. Heather, when you take your hand back, let your elbow come forward a little. Yeah. So you don't have to bring it back in space as far. Good. Good. Think about that upper arm bone doing the rotation. Elbow back a little bit, Nancy. Yeah. Yeah, there. If you need to, use your hand. Annie, elbow forward just a little bit. Yeah. Good. Do you feel how that's more shoulder? Yeah. Now, if this feels good, you can add the band. If this feels exhausting already, keep it where it is. Right? That's fine. If you're using the band, go ahead. Make sure there's only a little bit of tension here, just enough for that deltoid to kick on. And then you rotate and you hold. And then you bring it back. And then you rotate and you hold. Good. Nice. In front of the elbow. Yeah, so the tension is from the front. Yeah, good. Good. Elbow forward, make sure your wrist is strong. Yeah, because we're trying to find our rotator cuff here. Yeah, yeah. Last one. Good. And then we're just going to bring it in and down. I'm going to wrap up on it. So I have a little bit of tension, but it's not like a bicep curl. We're just going to point the thumb back, still try to find that same muscle group, same thing. It's just external rotation, right? So it is literally the same move, different position. Okay, so if you need to, you grab your arm, you externally rotate with it. Yep, that's great. Yeah. Like your elbow is on a lazy Susan. Yeah. Good. Just have a couple more. And 2. Last 1. Hold it out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Go ahead, flip your palm down, and then flip your palm up, and then through. Yeah, so we're flipping it down and then letting our hand move, and then flipping it up and letting our hand move. Yeah, 1 more. Good. Other side. Isn't that the most exciting part, is other side? So let's go ahead, make sure we are widening through our collarbones, and just bring the arm here, right? And then it's just a little external rotation, and then back. So if, for instance, you feel any pinchy at some points, push on that area a little bit to see if you can just get it to calm down. It's not like a jab, it's more like a suggestion. It's not a command, it's like a hey. Yeah, good. And then see if you can find the non-pinchy without the suggestion, right? It could be potentially like, oh, my pec is tight and it's pulling my anterior deltoid forward. Or, oh, my pec minor is tight. Or I'm just used to being in a weird position, right? Good. Relax your neck for me, Kyle. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Good. Now, if this feels good, then you can always add on. If you're like, that was enough for me, man, you can absolutely do it without the weight. You can absolutely take a break and just notice if your wrist tries to help. For example, on this side, I am missing a little bit of rotation. So I have to really be aware because my wrist is like, I got you there, right? Yeah. If your shoulder elevates, let it lift, then let it go the opposite way, and then see if you can encourage it to not, right? We're still trying to find that upward rotation of our shoulder blade. Good. And then notice if your shoulder is elevating on your inhale or on your movement, right? If it's on your inhale, think about your breath going really low. If it's on your movement, think about the shoulder blades scooping around. We have 2 more. And breaks are great. And then we get to bring the elbow in. So I'm going to have a little bit of diagonal pull on mine, but it's up to you, whatever you want to do. We're just going to take it back. Once again, that elbow's on the lazy Susan. It's still just external rotation. Instead of trying to get really far back, get more tension before you start. Yeah. And just go until, yeah, better. Good. Yeah. Do you feel how you're trying to rotate with it? Yeah. That's okay. Just let it relax, just widen. Sometimes just encouraging like this, like take your hand, and as you rotate, push to the side. Yeah. That was great. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's not intentional cheating. It's so, like, honestly, our body doing that is so cool, you guys. Like, huh? Well, it's the nervous system also is like, oh, you want me to go here, but I can't go here like this. I'll find a different way to do it. It's just a strategy, like a strategy in real time. That's so cool. Good. Nice job, you guys. Let's take the band. We're just going to get a little rotation. So put it on like a little towel, and then you can bring it underneath your arms if you want, right? So it's up to you, whatever feels better. Okay. But make sure there's a little bit of tension on it. This should be pretty easy. We're going to reach with one arm and rotate to that side. And then reach, rotate to the other side. Yeah. Good. Just let the tension of the band help you rotate with ease. Yeah. Using your breath. Good. And then 2. Nice. Last set. Good. Awesome job, you guys. We already have this here. We're now going to come on to all 4s. Now, if the band is really in your way, you can always get rid of it. I'm going to just wrap it around my hands once, so I don't have to think about holding on to it. It'll just already be there. Now, let your shoulder blades come together. Now, push the floor away, widen through your shoulder blades, lift your ribs. And again, bring it in and down, and then widen and press. Good, 2 more. Last one, hold. Good, now keep that connection, slide 1 foot out, reach it away from you. On your exhale, push it so far away that maybe the heel lifts, and then fold it on in. Other side, slide it out, push, and then bring it on in. Couple more. And fold. Beautiful. Try to keep the lower back out of it, right? So a lot of times our lower back is like, I want to help, but keep pushing the band and then also lifting the belly button, reaching the foot away as opposed to up. Good. Now, maybe you stick with this, or maybe you extend one leg And you're actually going to rotate your hip bone down, and then rotate back to center, rotate your hip bone up and back to center. Hip bone down, back to center, rotate it up. So that glute and inner thigh on the stable side should be working. If you need to do this with your foot down, that's okay. If one of the rotations doesn't work for your body, that's okay. One more. And then we get to do the other side. So slide it out, hold, rotate the hip bone down and back. So hopefully with the band here, you'll feel if you're sinking into your shoulder, right? And notice if the floating leg is trying to help for potential rotational discrepancies in the stable leg. If you need to, that foot comes down. 2 more. Last one. Come back, slide 1 foot out. When you're ready, we come into a plank. If you don't want to plank like this, you don't have to. You can always be on your knees. You can always get rid of the band. We're just going to hold for 4, 3, keep pressing, 2, last 1, knees down, press yourselves into your rest position. Good. Yeah. And good. Now just take your hands up and over to one side, press your hips away. And then other side. Good. And then we get to come onto our side. You can use that prop. No band, not unless you really want it. If you really want the band, we can use it. Okay. So go ahead, bring your feet together, knees together. And we are going to be doing some abductions and like clamshells. So if it is more comfortable to be in this kind of 90 degrees, great. If it's better for your glute access to have your feet behind you a little, that's okay. We do want to lengthen through the top hip, lifting the bottom. Keep the hip bone pointing forward. And just bring the knee up and back down. Good, so we are kind of brushing it away. Good. Gorgeous. Keeping the knee and foot traveling kind of on the same plane. Think of that glute max getting involved. Good. We have 4. Good. 3. Hey, Annie, push your hip or your top knee away from you a little bit. Yeah, like even more like this. Yeah. And then keep that hip right where it is. Yeah, is that more glute? Yeah. Good. Now hold this last one up, just drop the foot down. Keep the knee still if you can. That's about where you're going to go with your clamshell. So let the knee drop down. Good. Once again, we are just gently spiraling the thigh bone in the socket. Good. You can always squeeze your heels together. Good. We have 5, 4. Good. Keeping that hip bone pointing forward. Last one. Extend your leg away from you. Push it so far away that your hip actually lengthens. Now, we're just going to drag it behind you a little bit without the hips diving forward. And then it can come forward without the hips kind of rotating back. Good. Just back and forth. Imagine dragging it through wet sand. Good. You have 4, 3. Good. 2 more. Nice. Last one. hold it back. We're actually going to rotate forward so you can get rid of the ball, so you can have your hands on your head, or just rotate a little through your thoracic. It's up to you. Leg comes behind you, tiny little circles. Good. So we're trying to be in that hip extension for maximum glute engagement. It's like an action movie, right? You have 4, 3, 2 more, and then reverse it. 5, 4, 3. Last one. Bring your knees together, slide that top or that bottom hand in. Now just let the ribs sink down and then let the ribs lift. Let the ribs sink down like you're in a slumber party. Hey, what's up? And then ribs lift like you're trying to avoid something. 2 more. Now maybe this is where you stay. If it feels good on your shoulder, great. Maybe you come into a side plank and slowly lower the hips and then push down into the shoulder and lift. It's a lot of oblique if you slowly lower and then think about pressing down from that shoulder, armpit, and then lift. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm in between. You can always be on your hand and knee. Just make sure that your shoulder feels good. 2. Good. Last one like this. Nice job, you guys. We're gonna go to the other side. Go ahead, unwind your hips so they're reaching forward. You can either be in that 90 or you can bring your heels back a little. Good. Lifting that bottom rib. We're going into that abduction. So we're trying to bring the knee and foot away from the body. If you're like, what is an abduction? It's abduction. But when something goes away, it's abduction. And when it comes forward, it's adduction. And so saying AB lets me know that I've got the right duction, just like AD. So just lifting the foot and knee. Good. Keeping that hip bone pointing forward. You have just a few more. Trying to find that glute. Nice job, you guys. 2. And on this last one, hold it. Just drop the foot down. So now you already know kind of where you're going clamshell wise. Squeeze the inner thighs together and then rotate, right? Good. Now, if your knees are pretty close in and you can reach them, if you'd like a little bit more resistance, you can always just push down. And just a few more here for 4. Good. Lift your bottom ribs. More. Yeah. More exciting. Good. 2. Last one. Extend the leg out. Get so far that your bottom rib lifts even farther. And then drag it back in space as if you're dragging it through wet sand. And then it can come forward. Drag it through wet sand and forward. Gorgeous. How is that feeling, everybody? Great. Good. You're like, I think so. It should feel good. It should feel easy in the hip. 2. Last one. Hold it back and then rotate. And we get to do little baby circles. Okay. And 4, 3, 2, and then reverse it. And bring that knee in, slide that elbow in. And then we're just going to lower the ribs, lift the ribs. Okay, lower the ribs, lift the ribs. As we lower and lift the ribs, you're still pushing your elbow into the ground to help lift you. Yeah. And then if you want, you can lift as long as you're not collapsing into the shoulder, right? And maybe you're like, well, I'm close to that. I think I'm going to be on my knee. Great. Maybe you're like, well, my shoulder prefers this. Okay, no problem, right? Just making sure we're not moving from here. We're still pushing, finding that connection. We have two more. Good. Yeah. Last one. And then come all the way down. We're coming on to our stomach. Now, hands underneath your forehead, shift your hips back and forth a couple of times, and just feel your ribs kind of settle. Draw your belly button up and let your pubic bone be slightly heavier than your hip bones. Now push one foot away so much that maybe it lifts other side. Now, as you do this, notice if your hip dips, right? If it sinks. It's not the end of the world if it does, but it could either mean that maybe your hip flexors are tight today, or maybe you did something really vigorous and your erector spinae muscles are already really active. And so your multifidus is like, I won't want to. Yeah. Last two. Last one, each side. Good. Go ahead, suction cup your hands to the ground. Drag them down as if you're doing a lat pull at the gym. Press both your hands and elbows into the ground. And then squeeze your glutes. Maybe your feet lift, maybe they don't. Hold this. So you've rotated your collarbones up. You're in the tiniest little upper back extension. Inhale. Exhale, float your arms up. And then come back down. If you felt your low back kick on, that indicates erectors, right? So we're going to try it again. We're trying to find our multifidus. Drag everything down, lats, glutes, push. So now lats and glutes, that posterior oblique subsystem is helping you. And then exhale. See what happened. Yeah, good. Come down. We have one more. Good. And come down. Hands come forward. Shoulder blades draw down your back a little bit, but without force. Flip one hand to face the center so your thumb is back. Exact same thing that we did before. You posteriorly tilt that shoulder blade so the hand can come back. Same side. Just so you can find it a few times. Now maybe as you do this, you're like, I can't really lift my arm here. That's okay. Just imagine that posterior tilt of the scapula and just see if you can imagine lifting it. And then other side, suction cup that hand to the ground, flip the palm, exhale, tuck the shoulder blade. Now, for example, on this side, I have a little bit of shoulder wonkiness, and I can either not lift it, or I can give it the teeniest little assist. So I'm giving it the teeniest little assist by using my opposite hand to guide it, right? We have two more. And then press yourselves into your rest position. Hands up and over to one side, push your hips away. And then other side. We get to come all the way to standing. So let yourself dangle for a second and just feel what your body says. And then roll all the way up. All right, bring your feet together as if you're in a little tightrope position. Yeah. And maybe this is just where you are today. I want you to feel your feet underneath you. Yeah. And go ahead and either do like spirit fingers, jazz hands, or little quacking hands, right? Whatever you need to tell your nervous system that you're safe. And then if that feels appropriate, try closing your eyes. Couple more breaths. And then we get to do the other side. So feel that tightrope. Yeah. Good. And then you can close your eyes. Nice job, you guys. Flip your palms to face the sky. Open up. Good. We're going to do that again. Now reach one hand overhead, other hand down. Nice little side bend. Sweep it down. Then we get to do the other side. And overhead. Good. Sweep it down. We get to do one more each side. Good. Bring your shoulders to your ears and then just drop them down. Nice job, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me today. You guys did amazing.